Hey everyone, I am super excited to be here with Jordan Williamson, the CEO. I don't know what title would we put to you here of Assistable.ai. So the
All right.
developer, engineer, a lot of it, all of
All
it.
right.
So anyway, I just want to dive into a bit of a conversation with him, learn a bit more about him. Who is he? Why did he start this whole thing? And we have some fun stuff coming. And as you know, Jordan, everybody in Assistable loves your work, and obviously you have some problem that you're solving for us people, and we really appreciate that. And I want to dive into some more of that a bit later here. But first of all, let's start with some fun kind of personal stuff. go go. No, just like who are you? Like, tell me a bit about your growing up. Were you an entrepreneur growing up? Did that start later in your life?
It cut me off if I rambled too much. Dude, kind of. It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. I've always had entrepreneurial like tendencies. And I think it wasn't until like I was in like late teens, uh, getting into college, when a job is kind of like, needed. Where I realized that I'm not a great employee because I'm more so, I am pretty much an entrepreneurial type. But I didn't like start crazy businesses until probably in college. Until then, I was kind of a workhorse. I worked at Six Flags, funny enough, which is a theme park. It was my first job. I was the youngest supervisor. I was 16
Wow.
years old. Super, super fun. And then after that, man, kind of took some time off until college, and then just worked like to go here, there's until I got into like doing e-commerce, which got me into the whole marketing thing. And ever since then, man, it's just been uphill.
That's interesting. Six Flags. Hey, why did that not stick?
Dude, it was long hours and not great pay. I'll tell you what, like if you're young and you want like a really good job as far as like experience and accountability, they will give it to you if you
Mhm.
like work for it. Like they're super good about that, but I mean, you're not going to be making crazy money there. And we work probably 60, 80 hours a week.
Wow. Wow. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. That's fascinating. And so when you like, is that kind of did you get into it because you enjoyed, you know, swimming and all that type of stuff, like the physical
Yeah.
aspect of it?
Yeah, that was kind of it. So I was already in sports and competitive weightlifting my whole life, and so swimming was kind of part of that too. I didn't do it like as a sport in school or anything, but it just genuinely has always been kind of the thing. So it was a lifeguard is what I started as, going in as a lifeguard. And then the aspect of like when I got out of high school, my idea at 16 years old, 17 years old was I wanted to be a cardiologist. Like that's what I actually
Mm,
originally went to school for.
yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this first aid, you learn all the good stuff. It's a win-win. And it just, took it and ran with it, man. It was real fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cardiologist. You just piqued my curiosity here.
Yeah, the medical field. That was like my kind of my aspirations at that time. I think it was more so pushed on me from family, and I enjoyed biology. I enjoyed chemistry. I was really, really good at it, math. Um, and so it was just kind of natural to go into that. But
Mhm.
it wasn't until I like actually got into it, like into school, where I was like, this
Yeah.
is not what I want to do.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah, because obviously what you're doing now is very, very different. At the same
Yeah.
time, you're saying you're good at math, and I can see that translating over, like the logic of it, right? So that's
Yeah.
probably a thing that translates over quite well. And so when it comes to just say you had, now we all know you never have half a day or a day to just not do anything. What would you do if you did have that? Let's say in the once in a lifetime occasion here.
I don't know. So I've real big gamer. I've been a gamer my whole life. So I've gotten till now in my free time where I'll just like play something like Warzone just to pass any time that I may have. So you'll probably catch me doing that just because it's mindless. It's totally nothing.
Mhm.
That I need to think about. Or I'm really into cars too. So anything like working on cars, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah. No, fascinating. It's just interesting to hear, like, well, obviously you have Assistable going and that is growing like
Right.
crazy. So like what's behind this person? So that's super fun. Um, let's dive into a little bit more of Assistable. Why you started Assistable and what got you into that?
Yeah, so I had played with OpenAI since like kind of the beginning. In the playground, the API, I was just so fascinated by it. And I found it on Reddit, I think of all places, back when like no one had heard about it. And I was looking up something because again, I was like in that entrepreneurial state at the time. I was working in software, so I was like, I kind of want to start something. I
Hmm.
want to do my own thing. What can I do? Found that, and I just fell in love with it. And kept up with that, whatever. What ended up happening was, I went through my career. We won't go too crazy into that, but I ended up starting my own agency, and Facebook ads, traditional follow-up stuff, using Go High Level was like the thing. That was like the norm. That was like when Thomas Garnett kind of blew up for that video of doing that.
Okay.
Um, but I think for more differentiation, like the chatbot idea was like the only thing they were missing was like they wouldn't call their leads, they wouldn't text their leads, like they wouldn't. We'd bring them these leads, we bring them cheap leads, and they
Hmm.
just oh, these are bad leads, and they didn't call them or text them. So
Yeah.
that's when we kind of get the idea of like, let's take this open AI thing and let's kind of build a chatbot to talk with the leads. That's where it started. Now the progression of why this started was we did that for a little bit. Realized it took up a lot of our time, which tangibly should have been on Facebook ads, should have been on business development. So we went with a third-party provider. We weren't extremely satisfied, so I said, well, I could build that in a week. And I think it was 5 days. I had a competing platform up, and
Hmm.
it's been uphill ever since because I had a lot of friends in the agency space, and they like the chatbot that built via workflows, and so just kind of translated like, here you go,
Hmm.
here's
Yeah.
the platform now.
Yeah. And it sure has developed a lot from there because I know when I got on board, what was it, early this year or was it just last year? I remember like your school group, for example, had like 30-ish people in it.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we're way, way beyond that, like more than
yeah,
10 times. And it's obviously grown astronomically for you. So anyway, super, super glad to hear that.
yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, and so that sounds like you were exposed to high level probably a while ago already, a couple of years, almost from the start, maybe.
Funny enough, no, I'm actually super, super new to high level, which it always cracks me up because I'll talk with people a lot and they're like, I've been an OG high level user. I'm like, dude, I've been on this platform for like a year. I feel like an infant, if even that. So really not that long. It's just, I'll tell you, I've used every CRM in every capacity, and Go High Level, just from an objective standpoint, for the price and the value you get, there's nothing you could beat. Like the entire tech stack you would use to replace that would be, 10x the cost of, $97 Go High Level plan. So it was an incredible find. Found it through YouTube, funny enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, see the drift I got previously, I just kind of thought this was probably it with starting this. I actually scratched that. That does it doesn't even make sense what I was just gonna say. Whatever. Okay. No, cool. That makes sense. So basically assistable grew from your own need. You're like, okay, we need to do this. And I know like having been in the Facebook ad space just a tiny bit, touched it a little bit. I know that's one of the biggest things that okay, we're getting leads, but they're just bad leads. Well,
Yeah.
everybody
Yep.
knows that everybody in the agency space knows that well that's what the business owner says because they don't reach out, they don't follow up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and so it sounds like that came from that problem, solving that problem. And now we're developing into the whole voice AI thing as well, which is now completely shifting the use cases we can access as well. For example, previously we were basically doing the chatbot thing, following up with leads and booking appointments. Now we're going to the place where we could literally use this to run a business and to a large extent. Um, Making calls. I don't know. It's just so much to it. So
It is. It's a
yeah,
lot.
what excites you the most about this whole thing, journey or the product? I don't.
It's good, dude. And this is a terrible answer, but it's kind of all of it. And the fact of like, it just, if you can't tell, nothing stays the same for very, very long. Because my whole idea with this is like, how far can we take every aspect of this? Like, even if it's something like silly, like a response, how fast can we make the response? How accurate can we make the response? Like, like even from the agency deployment side, how do we make this easier for someone to get in there and just make it work? For voice, how do we make the latency faster? How do we get it to book appointments? That stuff excites me just from the fact that I love the technology of artificial intelligence, not fanboying,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
trying to do the whole keyword thing, but like I genuinely love the technology. And that also stems from the fact that I was in sales and I had to do all this stuff manually and it wasn't fun.
Mhm.
So automation's always been kind of my thing. But man, every aspect of it, and even like running this business today, the reason I haven't hired anyone, one, it's kind of cusping the idea of needing, to hire somebody. But my whole idea is, why do that when I could just replace them with a product? If
Mhm.
I need someone for support, why couldn't I just build a badass support bot? Or if I need someone, for development, why couldn't I just build a badass custom GPT inside the platform that other people can use? And so by kind of solving my own problems, I kind of, take that to the marketplace and reciprocate that by other people's problems. It typically solves mine too. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great answer, and honestly, that's seems to be working quite well as far as solving the right problems. Because, for
yeah,
example, it seems like Assistable, a couple of things you've done really well is simplifying AI, and very well compared to some of your competitors, which there's just a web of workflows you can avoid. So now we don't have to be pros at go high level workflows anymore to, set up a quick booking bot. And I think
yep,
that's a huge thing. And obviously from there, now you're connecting in the next release or so, you're connecting voice and chat. So
yeah,
that's just, I don't know, that's just another mind blown, so
yeah.
it's
I
really,
I think about like when I had to deploy it and like have the workflows, even for the one I built or even the third party, I'm like, God, it's 50 workflows to make this thing work okay.
mhm,
And even like now, like it's so funny, like the progression of like what's the bare minimum? Because back then it was like as long as it talked, and even if it was 50 workflows, as long as it talked. And now, as it's just that bar is kind of getting set, and then the idea of deploying faster. That's how the no workflow thing came, and now like mixing the two, voice and chat, came from okay, everyone's having to duplicate efforts one to the other. They have different models. It's kind of confusing everybody. Why wouldn't we just combine them? And then now you just build one, that one's dynamic. You can change the prompting both ways on call. You can call,
mhm,
different numbers both ways. And then it can also chat. Like that speeds up so much value from,
yeah,
I think, my perspective, everyone's perspective, to the fact it's like no longer you have to build two, three, four, five of these things, just build the one.
yeah.
And you're totally good.
And that's going to be so huge because that takes another big issue out of, like, when somebody texts back to a voice number, for example. Well, now that won't be an issue
Yep.
anymore, right? Previously, there was always a
Yep.
bit of a discrepancy with that. But no, that's yeah. Well, let's just say I think there's about 500 people in the Skool group that are excited about the new release. So
I am too, dude. I've been teasing it so bad, and I've been wanting to get it out so quick, but every time I go in there, and it also kind of stems from the problems, right? Of like, I think, how can we like parse responses? Like that would be a cool thing to put in there. Some people don't like verbiage on the back half of that. Like, let me just put that in there real quick.
right,
And that came from something else I solved. And I'm like, well, we could just repurpose that. And so it's taken a little bit longer, but I think it'll definitely decrease not only the agency's time to value, their client's time to value, and then also hopefully, um, you know, I will have no support. That will make my life easier.
right, right. So talking about that, making the changes, like doing the update, what's kind of your approach to that? Like, say you're adding a new feature, like obviously with it growing, it's getting a lot more complicated. Tell me a little bit about that.
I'm actually having to go back now. A lot of what I do day to day, at least like in the past week and probably the next week or so, is like redoing everything. Because I tend to shoot from the hip. I'm like just speed to value, speed to get it out to the market, test it, make sure it's even tangible, make sure it'll actually help somebody, and then we can get crazy with it. But my process, dude, is like, I mean, I don't know if you would even call it almost kind of unprofessional, but uh, it's just kind of shoot from the hip. Someone says something in the school, or I have something that's getting on my nerves. I'm like, that'd
Hmm.
be something good to add today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that has presented challenges, which I think will change the way I approach dev and approach this business, because even going back through it, like this whole message processing thing, which that's just that's a lesson learned over time. Um, but even the way that things are done, I think if I had a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more attention, a little bit more, brainstorming would have been behind it, be slightly more efficient. So I'm getting better about pre-planning and not shooting from the hip as much, but strategically shooting from the hip. Maybe
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, and regardless, honestly, the stuff you're putting out is still so fast compared to so many other places. And with time, obviously we can expect that to slow down, but I think we should expect that to
Yeah.
slow down a bit. But it's still just seeing your perspective behind it, like you're all in. And I think that long term is what matters, right? Like it's not that you're just
Yeah.
doing this quick and then whatever, right? So yeah.
That's a lot of people. It's there's a lot of money in it, and people get in for the money. And I think I tell everyone it's like I'm not I'm not joking. I'm not being some type of way. I genuinely don't care about the money. I genuinely care about the technology and the agencies because I was the agency and I've been kind of in the agency space since I was young in some whether it's web design or something like that.
Mhm.
So I genuinely have care and I genuinely have stake for the people in the community. I'm so grateful for them. One, just entrusting me with shit, because why would you do that? And two, I just want to be someone that I wish I had. And that's my hope and motivation every day that I wake up.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, no, and we greatly appreciate that. That's for sure. How many people approximately, if you don't mind sharing, are on the platform now? If you
I
don't want to
think
share that, that's fine.
no, I think on installs from high level it's 15K, but that's sub accounts. So that's agencies and sub accounts.
Okay,
I think actual active agencies sits around 2,000 ish,
holy shit.
um, somewhere around there,
That's still that's an astronomical number because I know it was
somewhere.
just a week, 2 weeks ago or so. You said 10,000, like that you shared that. So
Yeah,
that's astronomical
dude,
growth.
it's so crazy, and I don't know what's fueling it because we're still on the wait list. Like I don't know how this is happening. I can't keep up.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's absolutely amazing. And of these people, like, do you have, I don't know, maybe you don't have any data on this, but are a lot of those existing agency owners, or are there quite a few new folks on the platform? Do you have
I
any
think
like
because we are high, like solid data, no, but I kind of, funny enough, intimately know just about everybody on the platform because I've spent so much time and have so much dialogue with everybody. I can tell you that because we're a quote unquote higher ticket product as opposed to those in the market, um, existing agencies tend to come to us just because of the explicit upfront cost that comes along with it. Um, but there's no shortage of people getting in there and the idea of differentiating with AI. But I think
Mhm.
majority of our customer base and majority of like from a business aspect, our ICP is existing agencies with like 10 to 10 plus sub accounts.
And would most of these be agencies that are obviously have their own services already, probably in ads or something of that nature? Do a ton of them, do you see a lot of them transitioning to being an AI agency model where it's literally that's their main focus, just AI automation and almost even leaving the ad space?
Yeah. Do I have any like hard data on this or like is this like a prediction or anything like that? No, but I'll tell you like most of the people I'm pretty involved with, even if they are on the ad side of it or they were on the ad side of it, a lot of them are transitioning to not necessarily getting out of it, but productizing what is and was SMMA. Traditionally 2 years ago it was you ran ads for someone, you did some follow-up, you had your weekly meeting, whatever. And I'm seeing very, very, very little of that, even to the ones who have been around for a long time who originally did that. They're now on some sort of SaaS offer, which doesn't necessarily mean their main product is AI. It's typically the whole package,
Yeah.
which you have companies like Play and the other ones that are doing the ads for you now. So why would you,
Mhm.
why not
Yeah.
productize it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's super cool. And now if we dive into kind of the fun aspect of Assistable, what is the most, I guess, either your dream of the biggest, best build out, like what if you think about a build out that you've seen or that you would like to implement, what's what do you see?
I'll tell you what my dream is and what I'm working on now with this new infrastructure is a complete support. And we don't really get that much support. And funny enough, if we do, it's like someone in the Skool group that's like, hey, this and everybody like like I said a million times, I can't appreciate everyone enough. Everybody's been, too good to me with helping me with stuff like that. But I imagine, like this business or I have some friends in Silicon Valley who run tech startups and things like that. Support's like the biggest thing. It would be nice to have an AI, conversationally, be able to do things like triage, but also ticketing. So creating a ticket, understanding the hierarchy of the tickets, understanding the like statuses of the tickets, and then using that for triage or human intervention. That would be super interesting to me. And then I think for like dream stuff, um, to get myself through college, I worked to go. That's at Olive Garden. That's what I did day to day, up until I started getting into, starting businesses and things like that. I picked up the phone for I would work double shifts every day, every single day, and all I can think is, man, voice AI could have automated that, and not necessarily would I want to put my older self out of a job, but um, that just seems like something that can be done by AI. So a full implemented restaurant ordering system for to go, something like that, is one that I really want to get my hands on, or at least
Mm.
have out there.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I could see that. And with the many different pieces coming together, there's sure, well, it's almost now I just need to do the little bit of fine tuning and putting in the
Yeah.
proper
Yep.
couple little systems. So that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
It's
Now,
exciting.
yeah, it is exciting. And with that, I just want to so you get so much done and like you have all these different things going. And I know a lot of people are wondering, how does Jordan get so much stuff done? Do you have what's your secret aside
Dude,
from Monster?
I was gonna say that literally is my secret because like I am so atypical from just about every aspect of work. Like I don't have a to-do list. I don't use a to-do list. I don't have like a Notion or anything like that that I personally use. I don't have anything. I told you it's shoot from the hip. So a lot of it's really kind of, I think the efficiency and the hard work aspect comes from just like brute force wanting to like, take this thing as far as I can and also be competitive in a way. But as far as efficiency, I'm just like, man, it's like the whole idea. I see something skill, I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it. It's usually pretty easy to implement. Most of this infrastructure, I try to spend a lot of time building it out. So it's pretty repeatable in that aspect. But man, it's just Red Bulls, man. That's what gets it done.
A lot of time and a lot of and yeah, just going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you have it, everybody.
That's how you do
That's
it.
how you do it. All right. Well, Red Bull's gonna get a bit of a spike in their sale.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I was wondering, so now let's take a bit of a different perspective and approach. And I just want to see your perspective on, let's just say you're starting out, a new agency owner, new AI agency automation, whatever you wish to go for. Let's say you have $1,000 and you have 30 days to start a new business, and you have 14-day free trial on Assistable and go high level, which I think you do offer free trial, don't you? And
Hmm.
so, what would you be doing if you have no customer base, but you do have the experience you do now? Um, what steps would you take to get that going?
Two approaches. It depends on the time frame. Like if I need money very quickly, this will not be the one I go with. But the first thing I'd probably go is almost like an enterprise type AI infrastructure agency. So I mean, not like going to like JP Morgan and saying, "Hey, let me build you a bot," but like more so like small medium sized businesses. Let's automate the entire business with a complete AI infrastructure. Let's automate your inbound calls, outbound calls, and that would be my offer. Is I will completely replace you and all of your employees in your business in less than 48 hours for X amount of dollars. And if you don't see tangible results in 30 days, then you can have it for free for the 30 days, something like that. But if I need money quick, I would probably do a SaaS model. It's really competitive right now. And then again, like with the whole idea of AI, I think it would more so depend on the shock factor, but it would probably be like a 497 297 SaaS offer of just get AI completely in your business. And my tagline would funny enough be, don't work with agencies, work with us, a software company, which we would be an agency, but it's just the branding.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you see a lot probably in the enterprise setups, and this would be a slightly more higher ticket, like not the 497. It would be more like 5 to 12 grand probably, or 5 to 10, 25 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm a high ticket guy. I as much as I love to work, I think the more efficient you are, depending on your goals in life, whether your goal is to make a lot of money or your goal is to just have this like um this lifestyle balance of like I can work when I want to work, and if I don't want to, I don't have to. If I want to go take a day and go with my wife somewhere, or, if you have kids, go with my kids somewhere, no one can tell me yes or no, and there's no obligation to. Uh, Depends on your goal there, but I think mine would more so be time oriented. I think I completely just went off track with that, but
Keep going. You're good.
I
You're good.
don't even, it's funny. My brain just completely went flat. I don't even remember what the OG uh, prompt there was.
Oh, from the
I don't
initial,
remember, man.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
no.
is it the business I would want to start,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like if it was high ticket
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
not, I guess, right?
that's what it
Um,
was. That's what it was. High ticket. Yeah, I'm a high ticket guy. I like to work less for more money.
right. That makes sense. Everybody, kind of pretty much everybody likes that. Um, Now,
Yep.
however, with that, there'd be different things you'd have to put in place, right? I'm guessing as far as building your value up front. What if you consider your sales process? You're saying I think you have a sales experience from the past. What are things that you would be implementing to get to the point where you could get one of those sales, two of those sales per month, or maybe more, probably probably more in the future, but like to get that to that point.
What's funny is I probably wouldn't set up anything in the front. I'd have a basic, MVP like in high level. I'd kind of build out like a quote unquote mock infrastructure or something like that. But all of my time just in the perception of like I have a 14-day trial, I have $1,000 and I need to like get my ass in gear to make some money. Um, I would set up just a mock visual to say like this is what it would look like. And my day from the time I woke up to the time I go to sleep would be business development in some sort of way, whether that's DMing on Instagram, that's cold calling using the AI to call is like, look at our AI calling you. Don't you want this? And I'd just be pounding sales. And then after one or two, then that's where your kind of iteration of implementing an infrastructure like that, your ideas come to life. But until then, you need the volume first.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Um, So I think we're coming right close to the end here. I have a couple kind of hot seat questions I wanted to go through.
Let's do it.
If you don't mind, just quick answers are perfect. So,
Let's do it.
what has been the toughest decision as the developer of Assistable, and why?
Shit, man, that's that's a
Answering
that's a
this
little
question.
that's a little too hot of a. I don't know, man. I think shit, man, I can ramble about that one all day.
Go for it.
The hardest thing about dev is what do I want to do for fun versus what I think would tangibly like actually bring value every day. That's like my biggest decision, and mostly the biggest decision even now of just like an objective thing, I'll leave it alone, is like what is flagship chat or voice, but instead of making that decision, I just merged the two, which made the decision for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And honestly, I totally get that. No, the thing I want to do versus what at times should be doing. Sometimes it's the same thing, but not always. And
Yeah,
I absolutely totally get that. Um, have there been moments when you doubted the future of assistable AI, and how did you overcome those doubts?
100%. Yeah. In fact, there was one point where I listed the company for sale. Like actually. And it wasn't because of like anything. I'm just like, it was one of those patches, and also, life kind of gets you. I didn't actually even do it. I had like put together the listing, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, I don't want to curse, but I'll say, screw that. Who's gonna make me stop? Just to keep going,
Yeah.
man. Just a
Yeah.
just a bulldog. So
What's the most overwhelming thing of what you do? Is it like complaints? Does that come in quite a lot? Like, what would you get you to the point of wanting to sell, like in that case?
mm, no, it's more so me being hard on myself more than anybody else. I'd say like we don't really get like a lot of quote unquote tangible support or like complaints. I maybe had one complaint. It was a user error.
Yeah.
But I'm more hard on myself because I genuinely like actually care about everything that anyone a part of this ecosystem. Genuinely care so much that I'm extremely hard on myself, probably harder than anyone ever thinks
Hmm.
they would be on me. So yeah, no, it would be something like that stress. But I have a very supportive family. I think I've fostered a good environment, a good headspace, and like I said, I'm a bulldog. I'm either I'm gonna die before I quit, and even then, it's not my problem anymore. So,
Yeah. No. Now this is a tangent here. You mentioned your family. How many siblings do you have?
oh, dude, four, a shit ton if you count like stuff. But
Yeah.
funny enough, I have a 2-year-old brother. Can you believe that?
Oh wow. Oh wow. I have a 2-year-old son. Well, almost 2 years old.
Isn't that crazy? I
Yeah.
have a 2-year-old brother and I have a 40-year-old brother.
No
It's
kidding.
it's a widespread
It's a
there.
widespread. All right. Well, the support is
Crazy.
awesome. The support is awesome that you get from the family, though, and
Yeah.
we all appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, so you're quite stuck. I guess that might not be the right word. You work with Go High Level quite a bit. Why so much? Why?
It's
Why is the question?
it's the community that's been so good to me, and th I have my differences with high level sometimes. But it's the community that's been very, very good to me. And I realize it's really good soil for people to sprout. For someone who's never started a business, Go High Level is a great place to be. Genuinely. HubSpot, anywhere like that, you usually find those bigger companies that are already there. And my aspect is how do I really, really tangibly help someone day one? And so high level has just kind of been that spot where I can kind of touch all aspects of the spectrum so that I can create solutions and products that cater to all those people so that we can carry them up into that spot in business a little bit faster. So high level has just been really, really good to me. The community has been really, really good to me, too good to me, and I genuinely enjoyed the software. I will fight tooth and nail for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think all of us love Go High Level, and we appreciate what you're doing to mitigate some of their weaknesses. So
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
good. And now one last question as far as these hot topics go, hot questions go. Which one I'm gonna choose? Which one I'm gonna choose? So if you ever faced ethical dilemma, have you ever faced ethical dilemmas when working with AI, and how would you resolve them? I guess the question is like, are there misconceptions about AI that you would like to debunk?
I think so. I think people think it's smarter than it is, which they're not wrong and to a certain degree. But I think people get in there and they have this higher expectation, at least end users, of like AI can do anything for me. Why can't it do this? Why can't it do that? Um, it's not as smart as you think. It requires a little bit of work, which is what we try to make is what we try to make easy, because it's really the work that kind of makes these things smart, that makes them do things. And so the conception is that I can just download a GPT on Best Buy, and now I have an AI, and it's like no, there's a little bit more work into that
Yeah.
to make it good. That's kind of the biggest one. The other conception is like it's going to take over the world. It's like, no, dude, this thing can barely give me proper error handling. I don't think that's going to take over the world anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's changing the world for sure, but taking over the world is a very different thing.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
and yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's really good. So now, just before I we got on this call, I asked a question in that school group to see what people would want to ask, and it was just literally just before the call, so there's not a lot of questions yet. There's two of them. Mind if I ask them?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
All right. So first of all, Craig Pretzinger, I hope I'm saying the last name right. He's saying how he wireframes out customization concepts. He's like, I just go, but I bet mapping it out would be so much smoother.
I just kind of go too. I shoot from the hip, man. You do it better that way. I'll tell you the biggest thing with building AI is just getting it done, and then you could go back and do it. Like that's analysis paralysis, like the number one thing. If you just kind of, again, I won't curse, but if you just send it, and just get it done, you can do your iterations later, and,
Yeah.
and you'll be happy because it'll be done and it'll be better.
Yeah, that makes
But no, I
sense.
shoot, I shoot from the hip on everything, dude. Just naturally. That's just kind of how I
Okay.
work best.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes sense. Now Blake is saying, peel the curtain on Jordan AI. We need to learn how to build our own AI self. I guess the question is, how much of what we're seeing about you is actually you?
Dude, I wish more was AI. And it would make sense that a lot more was AI, but a lot of it is me. Now, I'll tell you what, where I find most, or where I get a lot of efficiency from is having AI to help me with little things. So, not only sales and support, like this entire business's sales is completely ran by AI. You don't talk to me until we're on a call. So that's nice. And support for the most part is at least AI triaged, but everything else is me. I have little ones that I use for like banking and things like that, things I don't want to do. Um, but I just as soon as I have like a need that's like it's faster for me to build an AI that's smarter than I am to solve that problem than it is for me to just solve the problem. That's where I implement AI. But funny enough, like everything else is just kind of me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, man.
Does your wife ever get to see you?
She has a desk right beside me she sits at and she
Oh,
does
there you
her
go.
whole thing. So she gets to look at the side of me sometimes. But maybe I'll stop. Yeah, maybe from after we move, maybe I'm lying about moving. Maybe I'm not actually moving. Maybe I've just been building an AI to replace me and I'm
There
using
you
the
go.
move as
As a way, yeah, and get off the world. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there you go.
AI from there. No, that's really good. That's really good. And I just want to, just before we conclude this, I just want to say a bit of a thank you from myself, for myself and the stuff that your work is doing in my own life. Because there's so many of us starting out or agency owners, whatever. It just really makes our life a lot easier. And for myself, for example, I come from a very different industry. I did not enjoy my work, but I'm actually finding now I can do the type of work I love, get paid, and it's amazing when you can do that. So I think you're gonna have an
Good.
effect on a lot of families, on a lot of people, and make their dreams come true. So much appreciated.
That's what I hope, man. And I tell you what, like I said, I can't appreciate enough everyone who's been a part of it and supported, even when they probably shouldn't have. There's been times like I said, I shoot from my hip, which again, to some people may look unprofessional, but I think it's where a lot of the innovation comes from. I'm very, very appreciative for the support that I get. Very, very appreciative for the help that I get. I literally was talking to someone the other day, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to surround myself with. Genuinely, I'm appreciative for every single person that I come in contact with. It's overwhelming. It's really cool. What'd you do before this?
So I was in construction.
Really?
I was project management for greener homes, net zero type building.
Yeah.
So did that for a while. But I've swung the hammer a lot too. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a if you can't tell, blue collar Southern type guy. You know, I can, do tech or I can get out there and, one of my businesses that I had in college was I shit you not a pressure washing. I drove an F-250 around with a
Yeah.
pressure washer in the back and
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I did.
There we go. Wow. That's awesome.
I have
You're-
so many little stories like that, man. So
yeah.
many. Just hustle, dude.
Yeah. No, much appreciated. Thanks a ton.